Can Yaman? A name that echoes far beyond Turkey's borders, a name that makes millions of hearts beat faster across Europe, the Middle East, Latin America, and even places where Turkish dramas only recently became known. For his fans, he is not only an actor but a phenomenon. His charisma, his piercing eyes, his fiery energy on screen turned him into more than a celebrity. He became a global star. But behind the flashing lights, behind the magazine covers and the endless speculation, there was always something carefully hidden. A truth that he never spoke about, a secret he protected more fiercely than anything else. And when that secret finally began to surface, the world could not believe what it saw. His rise to fame seemed like the perfect script. A young man, born and raised in Istanbul, educated in law, suddenly stepping into the world of acting and conquering it almost overnight. Early on, he was cast in romantic comedies that brought him enormous popularity. But it was one project in particular that changed everything, a series that introduced him to international audiences and turned him into a household name. That series was not just another television drama. It was an explosion of romance, humor, and emotional depth, carried on the shoulders of two young actors whose chemistry was so real, so intense, that people refused to believe it was just fiction. Can and his co-star Demet Özdemir became the obsession of millions. Their every look, every smile, every embrace on screen felt authentic, as if the cameras had simply captured two people falling in love. From that point forward, the line between reality and fiction blurred. Fans across the world began to believe they were witnessing a love story off the screen as well. Every interview was analyzed, every social media post decoded, every behind-the-scenes moment turned into proof that they were truly together. But while the world was consumed by this passionate fantasy, another story was quietly unfolding. A story no one suspected. This story was not about glamorous red carpets, flashing cameras, or public declarations. It was about silence, privacy, and something Can valued above all else, authenticity. Because far away from the attention, Can Yaman had found someone. Not another actress. Not a celebrity. Not someone who knew what it meant to be chased by paparazzi. This was different. This was a woman who knew him not as a star, but as a man. To her, he wasn't the headline. He wasn't the hero of a series, or the international idol adored in Italy, Spain, and Brazil. He was simply Can. And for him, that was everything. In this hidden relationship, there were no journalists waiting outside the restaurant, no fans crowding around the airport gates, no endless speculation on social media. There were only conversations that healed him, laughter that had nothing to do with fame, and a love that grew quietly in the shadows. For years, this remained his greatest secret. But secrets always leave traces. It started with little details. A bracelet spotted in two different photos. A reflection in a mirror. A faint voice in the background of a video. At first, they seemed meaningless. Fans dismissed them as coincidences. But those who paid attention, those who followed every step of his life, began to whisper, could it be that Can Yaman is hiding someone? The whispers grew louder over time. Still, Can stayed silent. He knew better than anyone what the spotlight could do to a relationship. He had seen how his supposed romance with Demet was ripped apart by the media, how rumors turned love into spectacle. He wasn't going to let that happen again. But love has a way of revealing itself. Not long ago, the first undeniable signs surfaced. A private dinner in Rome where he was spotted with a woman by his side. A short trip that was supposed to be secret but left digital footprints. A matching accessory that tied them together without words. And suddenly, the narrative shifted. It wasn't Demet. It wasn't any of the actresses he had been linked to. It was someone else entirely. Someone who had been part of his life, quietly, secretly, all along. When the news broke, it felt like a bombshell. Social media exploded. Fans around the world were divided. Some felt betrayed, they had invested so much in the dream of Can and Demet. Others were excited, relieved that he had found happiness outside the endless circus of show business. Hashtags trended overnight. Magazines published speculative headlines. And once again, Can Yaman became the center of a storm. But this time, it wasn't about his career. It was about his heart. Why did he go to such lengths to hide this love? The answer lies in the cost of fame. Every public relationship of a superstar becomes a battlefield. Fans take sides. Rumors distort reality. Privacy is shattered. For someone like Can, who lives constantly under the gaze of millions, the only way to protect something real is to keep it invisible. For him, secrecy wasn't about shame. It wasn't about denial. It was about protection. It was about preserving the only corner of his life where he could truly be himself. And yet, now that the truth is out, everything has changed. The world sees him differently. No longer just the charming actor in romantic comedies, no longer just the global idol adored for his physique and charisma, but as a man who knows what it means to fight for love in silence. A man who understands the value of intimacy, even when the world demands spectacle. This revelation is not just gossip. It is a reminder that behind the glamorous image lies a human being who longs for something real, something lasting, something untouched by fame. What will happen next? Will Can embrace this love openly now that it has been exposed? Or will he retreat once again, determined to shield it from the chaos? No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear. The story of his secret lover has become part of his legend. And legends, once revealed, are never forgotten. The exposure of this hidden love also says a lot about the way fame shapes human connections. For Can, building a relationship has never been simple. The moment a woman is seen by his side, the entire world reacts. Some praise, some criticize, and others invent stories that never existed. In such a whirlwind, how can love breathe? How can trust survive when every gesture becomes a headline? That is why this revelation feels so powerful. It proves that despite the chaos, despite the impossible weight of fame, Can manage to nurture something authentic. Away from the cameras, away from the gossip, he chose silence as his protection. It was his way of saying, "This love is mine, and only mine." Fans across continents continue to debate. In Turkey, some see this as a betrayal of the fairy tale they imagined with Demet. In Italy, where Can has built a second home and career, the reaction is more celebratory, almost proud, as if they are part of his secret world. In Spain, Brazil, and beyond, hashtags trend, TikTok edits multiply, and every detail is scrutinized for hidden meaning. And Can? He remains silent, neither denying nor confirming, letting the storm rage around him. Because perhaps, for once, he has realized that explanations are unnecessary. What matters is not what the world believes, but what he feels. This unbelievable twist has already entered the history of his career, not as a scandal, but as a reminder, even the brightest stars need a place where love can simply exist. As the days pass, the noise may settle, but the impact of this revelation will remain. Fans will remember where they were when they first heard the whispers, when they first saw the photographs, when they realized the truth was different from what they had always imagined. For Can Yaman, this chapter will mark not just a turning point in his personal life but also in his image as a global star. He is no longer only the untouchable idol on screen, he is also the man who dared to love quietly, and whose secret has finally been uncovered.